An intriguing story today emerging. Laurence Fox, of course, the actor, describes himself as a fierce liberal and has been on the Westminster channel. I've spoke to him on here before. Said to be launching a new political party. I'm going to go through all the very latest on this, but if you could please start, by giving this video a big thumbs up and click subscribe and the bell so you don't miss future videos. I'd really appreciate it. Yes, so the Sunday Telegraph with the story that Laurence Fox, of course, known for his anti-wokeist views in this age of political correctness gone bonkers, actor Laurence Fox launching a new political party to fight the culture wars after raising over £1 million, including substantial sums from former Tory donors, the Telegraph can disclose. Fox reportedly hoping to stand dozens of candidates at the next general election. Obviously, that's still some way away. To provide a political movement for people who are tired of being told that we represent the very thing we have in history stood together against. Now, what I find intriguing about this story is the fact that Laurence Fox hasn't felt able to, for whatever reason, and I'm going to ask him to come on the channel and speak to him a bit more about this directly, is he obviously hasn't felt able to join the Conservative Party, to support Boris Johnson, and it would be interesting to find out why that is, why he's actually felt strongly enough to go out there seemingly and set up a completely new political party. And of course it will be interesting to see what the involvement of other people in British politics is. His aims said to include reforming publicly funded institutions, likely to include the BBC, no kidding, and celebrating Britain's history and global contribution. The new party, provisionally called Reclaim, let me know what you think about that name, guys, could launch as soon as next month. The party's name is subject to approval by the Electoral Commission. Papers due to be submitted in the electoral regulator in the middle of the week. In a statement to the Telegraph, Fox said, over many years it's become clear that our politicians have lost touch with the people they represent and govern. Moreover, our public institutions now work to an agenda beyond their main purpose. Our modern United Kingdom was born out of the respectful inclusion of so many individual voices. He goes on to state it's steeped in the innate values of families and communities, diverse in the truest sense, but united in the want and need to call this island home. The people of the United Kingdom are tired of being told that we represent the very thing we have in history stood against. We are privileged to be the custodians, he says, of our shared heritage. We can reclaim a respectful nation where all are included and none are ashamed to have somewhere to call home. I've been so encouraged by the support, Fox says, I've received by those wishing to add their voices to the reclamation of our values. Our country is now in desperate need of a new political movement, he says, which promises to make our future a shared endeavour, not a divisive one. This is now my endeavour, he says. One Westminster source describing the new party as a version of UKIP for the culture wars, which could attract hundreds of thousands of disaffected Tory voters at the next general election. Now, obviously, the Conservative Party's polling has held up pretty well, around 40% or above that. I believe a poll's just come out that shows Labour ahead for the first time, but there's also been another poll come out this weekend showing a Tory lead. So that's where we are in terms of the Labour and Conservatives, in terms of Boris Johnson's support for his party. Reclaim said to have three objectives, according to plans seen by the Telegraph. The first is to promote an open space through full projection of the fundamental freedoms of speech, expression, thought, association, academic inquiry, to stand in full opposition to laws and other measures which undermine those freedoms. The second objective, to reform publicly funded, controlled and operated institutions to ensure that they deliver on their primary purpose, free from political bias or agendas beyond their scope. This third objective, to preserve and celebrate our shared national history, cultural inheritance and global contribution. And again, fascinating. I do hope I get to speak to Laurence Fox himself about this at some point, but fascinating that he obviously feels strongly that the Conservative Party under Boris Johnson isn't delivering in these areas. As ever, guys, in the comments, let me know what you think about that. And there's obviously been some response to this story. Nick Buckley, MBE, saying when a British man wants to change his country, he does it through the ballot box, not through protests, riots, intimidation and screaming insults. The British way, our way, the right way. And that's absolutely right. I mean, just look at what the Brexit Party obviously achieved in a small amount of time. I was obviously part of that. One of the MEP, one of the Brexit Party MEPs, really had a huge impact in a very short amount of time to make sure that the pro-Brexit majority in our country could no longer be ignored. And I asked on Twitter for a reaction from my followers, and if you're not following me, please go and follow me at Michael_Heaver. You can see it on the side there. I asked for people what their response was to this story, and I said I'd put the best responses up. We had Adam Gary saying, if it is genuinely committed of this party, if it is genuinely committed to forming strong links with people at a constituency level, if it is unwavering in its pro-civil liberties stance, and if it is committed to doing no deals with the Lib Lab Con, then it's got a great deal of potential. Is Fox the UK's Reagan, he asks. Excuse me. Brian Higginson saying, we're in the middle of a culture war. A party dedicated to protecting British culture and taking on the cancel culture movement has to be welcomed. And then Nat Buster, one of the many on Twitter who hides behind a pseudonym, saying, the guy's been spending too much time in a Twitter echo chamber. It's pure hubris. Now, you know, I've been in and around British politics for a while. I've seen lots of new parties and movements come and go during that time. And I think the case study really to look at is just look at the difference in the independent group, whatever the hell that was, you know, the Anna Soubry, Chuka Ramuna mess that was much hyped, obviously had MPs in Parliament and actually achieved absolutely nothing. Obviously got wiped out and it was pretty much a joke. If you can compare that to, and it was on a similar timeline, to the success of the Brexit Party under Nigel Farage and Richard Tice, it really shows you that the execution of these ideas and how you actually move forward with them makes a huge difference. You cannot simply, even if you have MPs in Parliament, simply expect to form a new party, to form a new movement, and to sort of ride on a wave of public support. Building a credible political party that is actually able to be a serious force in elections is no easy thing to do. You need money. One thing Laurence Fox does seem to have is financial backing, but you really need to have expertise and an organisation that is able to effectively fight elections. I think it's been shown time and time again back in the day with UKIP, even with something of a national infrastructure, was not really able to make a massive impact in first past the post elections. And ultimately that is what it comes down to in first past the post. Obviously we do have PR in some forms. You look at the Welsh elections, the London Assembly elections and things like that. But in terms of first past the post and general election, an incredible amount of organisation and know-how is required to be successful. So although, you know, Laurence Fox is a very compelling figure, I'm sure lots of you, because I know quite a lot of you are big fans of him, judging from our previous interview, but to set up a political party, something new, and actually be successful takes a hell of a lot of know-how and tireless work. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all plays out. Will it contest elections next year? Is it only looking at the general election? As I said, I'm going to hope to get Laurence Fox on this channel again soon to talk through all of this and what the plans are for what is tentatively titled Reclaim. But in the meantime, guys, let me know what you think about this. Do you think it's exciting? Are you not interested because you're going to keep backing Conservatives, keep backing Boris Johnson? Are you looking to what Nigel Farage potentially does next? Let me know in the comments, guys. Would love to hear from you. And as ever, if you've enjoyed this report, please click subscribe, click the thumbs up and click the notification bell so you don't miss future reports. And of course, if you want to support Real News, if you want to support my work, become a patron over at Patreon. Would really appreciate it. As ever, guys, thanks for watching.